Good evening, world. It's evening here in Southwest Florida. It's almost 7:30 p.m. and I am making a dessert for tomorrow. So I'm going to start, this is called Gooey Butter Cake. This Gooey Butter Cake, it was made famous by some hotel somewhere. I don't remember where. I mean, it was invented at the hotel. But Paula Deen actually made them famous by serving them herself and putting them on a TV show. So she didn't invent it, but she really made it famous. So I'm going to put on my beater here. And it's really easy to make. And it uses a box cake mix. And it's basically cake and cheesecake together, kind of is what it is. I have flour down in here. So let's put that. Okay, so we're going to start. First of all, I have to melt a stick of butter. So let me get my stick of butter melting in the microwave here. This is a stick of unsalted butter. So well, the good thing about this is you can make this like any flavor you want, and there's a whole bunch of variations. You can make it just vanilla by not putting the pumpkin in it and leaving out one of the eggs. Or put the pumpkin in an extra egg and you have pumpkin. You can also have peanut butter and what else do they have? Pineapple, chocolate chip, banana, lemon. There's all kind of options. Hi! Have you ever had a gooey butter cake? They're so good. So I'm melting my butter. Just start. That's one stick of butter. Then in the stick of butter, we're going to add an egg. So let me put an egg in here. Make a little bowl. Get a little bowl. There's my little bowl for my egg. So I'm going to put an egg in there in the melted butter. Let's put this up here. Let's beat the egg here. You haven't had it? Oh. Okay, you need to try this. And it uses the box cake mix, which I guess you could probably use homemade cake. You would just have to make the dry mix. So you're going to use, if you're going to make pumpkin, you either want a yellow box cake mix or a spice cake mix. I love it with the spice cake mix. So this is just Duncan Hines. It doesn't matter what brand you get. This is the only one I see with a spice cake, though. So you're going to put this egg, the melted stick of butter, and you're going to put box cake mix. Let me get this to not be too, like barely add some of this hot butter here so I don't cook the egg. So that's a stick of melted butter. So then you're going to add in a box cake mix to this. Like I said, for the pumpkin version, you can use either the yellow cake mix or the spice cake mix. And then you're going to want a 9x13 pan. And you're going to grease the 9x13 pan. Okay. It's been a while since I've read this recipe. I haven't done this for a few years, I don't think. Okay, so I'm going to take the... So what you're making basically here is kind of a dough. I'm going to go ahead and put the other stick of butter into the microwave to melt because we need another stick too. So let's get that one. Because this is basically like a cake bottom. and a like cheesecake top. So good. A really soft, gooey one. Gooey butter cake. Okay, so here we go with our box cake mix into there, and we're going to mix it up, and it will make a dough. Okay, there's my other stick of butter melted. Here we go. Okay, so that's kind of like making a cake crust is what it's doing. And then I'm going to get my pan over here. There's my pan. Then I'm going to spray my pan. Let me get this out of the way. There we go. Spray the pan. You can grease the pan however you want to grease it. You really just need to do the bottom. Then you're going to press this dough that you made into the bottom of the pan. And it's so easy because it uses a pre-made cake mix. Like I say, if you have a cake mix recipe that you want to use, I imagine you can use it. Just don't add the wet ingredients. Just use the dry ingredients. Okay, so here we go. Here we go with the dough. So I'm going to scrape out this dough in the pan. And it's like cookie dough. Oh, and it smells good if you like spice cake. It's perfectly good if you use the yellow cake mix too. I love the spice cake. Okay. I'm going to leave that there for a minute, and I'm going to wash my pan because I have to have this. I want to give it a second to dry. My bowl, because I have to use it again. Let me get all of the leftover dough off of here. Well, hello, Miss Godiva. There's Miss Kitty Cat watching me. What you doing, Godiva? Huh? You want to come over? She wants some milk, but it was not time for that yet. It's not time. It's not time, baby. Where you going? Huh? Where you going, Miss Godiva? Here, let's see. Can you see Godiva? How you doing, Miss Godiva? Huh? What are you doing? Huh? What are you doing? You walking around? She goes, there's nothing in here for me to eat. Miss Godiva, can you see her? I don't know if you can see her. I need a new one of these silicone scrapers. Mine's getting cracking. Okay, let me rinse this out. Okay, we'll get all that to dry, and then we'll come back over here. Cat's gone. We'll come back over here. Let me see what we have here. Okay, there we go. We're going to spread this into the pan. Use your hand, spatula, whatever you want. You know, it's just kind of sticky. And it will have a tendency to really poof up at the corners and the edges. So don't make it have a lot of, don't go up the sides. It will overly go up the sides. So don't do it. Make it, if anything, make it thinner at the sides. Because it will really overly, you'll have a real cakey corners that won't have as much goo. So trust me, make the corners real thin, because it will just kind of expand out like that, and it will make too much. Which will still be okay. It just has a lot of cake in the corners. So I'm gonna kind of flatten those down. Flatten these corners down. I'll show you when it's done how the corners kind of do. Learned, it doesn't say this in the recipe, but I've learned over the years, don't put much on the corners, not really on the edges either. So you want that thinner over there. You want the most of it in the middle because of the way it expands. It just like pushes out the corners and the edges. Okay, so here is our nice dough cookie sort of cake bottom. Let me get this off my hands again because I touched it. So I've got my oven on 350 getting that ready. Okay, so then you're going to make the topping. So let me dry out my bowl. Put my bowl back over here. Let's move this back over. We'll start there. This is my melted butter. The bowl on my holder here. Okay, there it goes. Then let me get my beater. There we go. Now, we are going to add here, you're going to add a 8-ounce package of cream cheese. If I can get that open. I think they're making them a little challenging now. So this is softened cream cheese. I've had it out for quite a while. It's actually still a little cool. That's okay. Let me get some of it off the wrap. Oops. Okay. Okay, so we're going to beat our cream cheese. You're just going to beat that till it's smooth. Then you're going to add the eggs and the vanilla. Okay, so if you're going to make this without pumpkin, if you're not going to put a can of pumpkin in it, you'll want 2 eggs. If you are going to add a can of pumpkin, you need a 3rd egg. So I am adding pumpkin, so I'm going to put 3 eggs. But if you just want it like vanilla, which you can do, you only want 2 eggs here. Okay. But you know, you're adding a lot more liquid kind of stuff with the pumpkin, so you definitely need a 3rd egg. So there's one. That's where we are over here. This is really like making cheesecake, but you're just making a layer of cheesecake. And let me get my 3rd egg. Here's egg number 3. You actually need, of course, an egg in the crust part too, which we already did. And let's let that go. Okay, we're going to add a teaspoon of vanilla. And then we're going to mix that. there's that. I love this because you don't have to put icing or anything on it. You can serve it plain or with some whipped cream. It's really good with whipped cream. Okay, so then we're going to add powdered sugar. Okay, it says a 16-ounce box, you know, the 1 pound box of powdered sugar. If you don't have the box, and I don't have the actual box, it's 3 3/4 cups. It's just a 1/4 cup short of 4 cups. So 3 3/4 cups is what you do. So this is a 1.5 cups, so I'm going to need 2 of those. So so you can just measure if you have because I buy, you know, the bigger bags of powdered sugar. And then I put it in a container. Wanting to stick, kind of doesn't want to slide in. I'm expecting it to be a big avalanche. I'm trying to avoid that. Trying to avoid the big avalanche. You could spoon it in if you would rather. Doesn't really need to be sifted. You can if you want to, though. It's going to beat it in there. Okay, let me get a knife to level it off here. Okay, so that's a 1.5 cups. I'm going to do that again. Oops, and that will be 3 cups, and then we need 3/4 more. I'm kind of at the bottom of this. Good. There's that. I'm kind of making a little mess. I always make a mess with powdered sugar. At least it's easy to clean up. Always make a mess. Okay, so here's another bag. Get it out of the corners. Okay. So what I'm going to actually do is pour some of this bag into my big container. It's going to be easier to pour from there. There we go. At least I think it will be. All right, here's some more. Let's add a little bit more in here. It would have been easier had I not put so much in. Put too much in. Okay, let's see if we can level this off. If I have enough in here. There's another 1.5 cups. Okay, now we want 3/4 of a cup. Get my 1/4 cup measure over here. At least this one will fit down in my container. Okay, 3/4 of a cup more. 3 3/4 cup. So there's 1, 2, 3. All right, that is the equivalent of a 1 pound box of powdered sugar. So let me dump the rest of this powdered sugar in my container. I think you could also sprinkle the top of this cake with powdered sugar when you served it if you wanted to. Whipped cream's better though. Or just plain. Miss Godiva is lurking at the doorway. She's just over there lurking. Aren't you, Miss Godiva? Oh, I said her name, so here she comes. You know your name, baby, huh? Yeah. Okay, so then we're going to add powdered sugar and beat well. Okay, here we go. Start out really slow unless you want to wear it. Okay, now we're going to speed it up. Sorry about that. I bumped it. Okay, there we go. So then we're going to add, let's see, where do we do this? To the cream cheese filling. Okay, I think it doesn't matter. Dump in the powdered sugar, slowly pour in the butter, okay? But before we do the butter, we're going to do the pumpkin. So if you don't want pumpkin, remember, just don't put the pumpkin in and leave out one of those eggs that's in it. But here's a can of pumpkin I'm going to open. Oh, It's not plugged in, so I'm not gonna open. Here we go. Try it again. Those electric can openers don't work well without plugging them in. They really don't. Okay, so here is. There was, my store was out of pumpkin for a while. I'm like, oh no! What am I going to do? Then they have a whole bunch, so I bought about 8 cans of it. Because the thing is, it'll stay good, and I can use it next year if they're short again. That we've been, once in a while, have canned pumpkin shortages. It's like, hello, you know it's fall. You know we're going to use pumpkin. Make the pumpkin. But I guess if they can't get it, they can't get it. Okay, here we go. If I lived up north, I'd grow some pumpkins, but they don't grow down here. We don't usually have the eating. We don't usually have the eating kind of pumpkins. Oops. Here in the south. I can't keep from dropping it. I don't think people here buy them, so I don't think we really get them in the store. This little tripod thing drives me crazy. Seriously, this was a free one. I need to go buy like a real one that will stand up better than this. There we go. Is that bump it and poof? It's just a little teeny weeny dinky tripod sitting on a box. And it's really lame. I have a whole great setup for my makeup with a mirror, a lighted mirror and everything, but I don't need that in here. It's kind of a nuisance to move it, so I need a tripod in here. Or like a desktop one. And I have one, but it's just too short. And rickety. Okay, so there's our pumpkin. We already have our extra egg in it. So we're going to mix that in. Let's stir that now. Ooh, flushy. Okay, there we go. Now we are going to slowly pour in the melted butter. Now, because I'm using the spice cake, you don't really need to add any spices to the pumpkin, because if you like spicy pumpkin, use the spice cake on the bottom. And you don't have to add cinnamon or anything to the filling, because it's in the bottom of the cake, so you'll still get it. All right, so here's my melted butter. Let's turn it on slow. And we'll drizzle this in. Pouring it in. I don't think you can even see it, but there it is. There's our melted butter. Stick of melted butter. That's also unsalted melted butter. So personally, I don't think it really makes any difference. I can't ever tell the difference. Look, that looks like pumpkin soup. And that is it. Okay, so now we're going to pour this over our filling. So let's get this off of here. Take out my beater, got my bowl, make sure it's mixed well. Oh yeah, mixed really well. Let me move this over. Try not to have a catastrophe. There's my pan. So then all you really do is, let's make sure you just pour this over, right? Reduce mixture speed, slowly pour into butter, mix well, pour into the cake mixture, spread evenly. Okay, here you go. So that's all you do is pour this on top. Oh, there was a little piece of cream cheese that didn't get beat in, but it will be fine. It will be fine. It must have fallen off the beater. Didn't mix in well. Here it is right here. What are you doing in there? Here's 2 little pieces. It's just 2 pieces of cream cheese. Here, we'll just take them out. There. Now it'll be perfectly smooth and beautiful. Never know. You'll never know. Okay, my arm is hurting. Why is my arm hurting doing this? All right, then I'm going to take it. I see another piece. Look at that. Where'd it go? There. Oh, how do I have all these little bits that didn't mix well? Maybe it wasn't completely softened enough. Okay, so then you're going to take It doesn't tell you to do this, but that's what I do. Beat it, like drop it on the counter and it'll get the air bubbles out. Whoops, look at that. I picked that back up and dropped it back. Quit that. It stuck to my knife and went right back in. Get off of there. It's purposely being a nuisance right now. I should just leave it in there. Okay, here we go. Into the oven, 350, and you're going to bake this for 40 to 50 minutes. So it does take a little while. And it says the center should be a little gooey. Then you're going to cool it completely and cut it into squares. Okay, in we go. We'll set it for 40 minutes and then we'll check it. And I'll take a picture of it at the end. I will post the recipe for you. And there we are. We're all done. Thank you for watching. Hi, Karen. And now, yum. Thank you, Charlotte. And I'm going to go do my makeup now. But, well, I'm going to go do my makeup. I'd say, what time is it now? I lost my clock. Probably about 8:15 p.m. here. So give me 20 to 30 minutes. And I will come do some Halloween makeup fun. And try the gooey butter cake. Whether you use pumpkin or not pumpkin, whatever flavor you make it is really good. Bye.